Umevalia vizuri sana kwa nguo asilia za Kimasai.
Shukrani Bwana Speaker. But Bwana Speaker, ningeomba nizungumze kwa lugha ya Kimombo kwani Mr. Speaker, sir, I thank you. I've listened to the statement by my dear sister Senator Petronina Were in terms of the dominance presumed by Safaricom. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm not so sure that this is an issue that has not been canvassed in this House. Earlier on, there was a statement that was brought to this House regarding competition and also regarding the issue of M-Pesa. And Mr. Speaker, what my sister is seeking to find is whether one of the issues is whether Safaricom can be declared a dominant corporation. We have different pieces of legislation, one being the Competition Act, which is very clear, Mr. Speaker, sir. And the object of this act, and when I read, was to ensure that there is increased efficiency in the production, distribution, and supply of goods and services. Mr. Speaker, we have to give credit where credit is due, or where credit is deserved. Mr. Speaker, if you have two cell phones, as most of us have, one being Airtel, the other one being Safaricom, in most parts of this country, because of the investment done by Safaricom, Safaricom will always have network. Earlier on, Mr. Speaker, when I read the statement by Senator Petronina Were, it had suggested that Safaricom should be compelled to provide, to share their area so that, unless she changed that statement, Mr. Speaker, there's a point of order.
Hoja ya nidhamu tafadhali.
Nidhamu or information. Mr. Speaker, I just want to inform the House and Senator Olekina that being dominant is not illegal. So I'm not talking about the illegality of it. I'm talking about the abuse of that dominance in such a way that other Kenyans or other operators cannot be innovative or cannot be competitive. The market is not competitive anymore. And there is somewhere that the other operators are allowed to operate by giving the dominant operator his right, but also allowing the others to operate and allow innovation in the country. Otherwise, when we don't check this abuse, then we are killing the industry and killing innovations even from the rest of Kenyans. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Nafikiri kama ulivyosema hiyo ilikuwa hoja ya kuarifu, sio hoja ya nidhamu.
Mr. Speaker, let me maybe just clarify this matter. The Competition Act of Kenya is quite clear. It says that the object of this act is to enhance the welfare of the people of Kenya by promoting and protecting effective competition in markets and preventing unfair and misleading market conduct through Kenya in order to, and the one that I'll pay attention to, is to protect consumers. The second one is to create an environment conducive for investments, both foreign and local. Mr. Speaker, today, the European courts slapped Amazon with violating the antitrust laws because they were using their market dominance to be able to influence what they can be able, the prices of commodity they sell, and what can be sold to other individuals. I'm not saying that I don't support this statement by my sister, but I think it's about time that we look at all the antitrust laws that we have in this country so that we can be able to do those two things. One, to protect the consumers, and the second one, also to allow competition and to allow foreign direct investment into this country, and not to create an environment where when you invest so much of your resources, technology, then you are seen to be creating an environment which is not conducive for other businesses to operate. Mr. Speaker, before I was interrupted, I was trying to give an example between two cell phone companies in this country. I have a Zain line and I have a Safaricom line. And in most cases, what actually I would like this committee of ICT to investigate is why is it that every time when you call someone who has a Zain line, the line is always busy? You cannot, come and fault me for investing so much money in making sure that, one, I have no drop calls, two, my network is stable, when you do not want to invest that money. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is quite clear that for you to be able to succeed in this market, you must invest a lot. What I know that Safaricom policy in terms of marketing is similar to the one of Coca-Cola, which is within arm's reach, where everywhere you go, you see Safaricom, Safaricom, Safaricom. So I think what we need to separate are two things. One thing I like, and I will support this entirely, is the point that Senator Were made, asking a very pertinent question that we've asked before, the issue of separating the banking services from the telecommunication services. She has raised a pertinent matter that has got to be divorced from the issue of dominance and from the issue of ensuring that your consumers are getting what you're selling to them. Mr. Speaker, I think this House should be able to guide, and the Committee on ICT should be able to look deeply into the legislation. Either amend the Competition Act, either amend the ICT Act, Central Bank Act, so that we are clear. But as we speak right now, innovation should not be punished. Worldwide, this country is renowned for introducing M-Pesa, mobile money transfer services. People out in the rural areas, right now when somebody falls sick, you just use electronic money. So we just need to be, we need to be careful on the kind of policies, the kind of rigid legislations that we introduce. Because for me, I find that Safaricom has fully invested in this market. Any other person who wants to compete must also be ready to invest. I'm also aware, Mr. Speaker, that there was a time that Safaricom's share of the market, they were forced to reduce so that two companies, this is Airtel and Telcom, can be able to merge and take up a little bit share of this country. But you cannot force a consumer to go ahead and sign up with Airtel or Telcom when their preference is Safaricom. This is a very interesting debate, Mr. Speaker. So it almost boiled down to the issue of the two-third gender, where it is very difficult to be able to make sure that we achieve it, because you cannot force, so long as the system of election in this country is on universal suffrage, there's no way you can force an individual to elect a person of the opposite gender as their leader if they don't choose to. So in this case, when we are dealing with the issue of competition, when we are dealing with the issue of dominance, we must be guided by the law. The Competition Act is clear. It says it is there to protect individuals, so that when you're coming up, the one thing that concerned me is the point raised by Senator Faki on the issue of the longevity of the bandwidth that are given. If we are looking at those issues, I would be concerned about that. If, let's say, you buy bundles worth 100 shillings and you can only use them for 30 seconds, I'll be concerned about that. I'll also be concerned about the issue of drop calls. But the issue of penetrating the market, we all have equal chances. It's just like when you were born as a child, Mr. Speaker. I'm sure you have siblings. But it's only you, Mr. Speaker, who is sitting in that seat because either the angels were in your favor or you worked hard to be able to be there. So let us not punish innovation. Let us promote it and also encourage the other players in the market to catch up. There's always be one winner and all others will always be able to follow. In fact, the motto is that one will lead and others will always follow. So, Mr. Speaker, as I conclude, It is important that the Committee of ICT, which I believe is the one that you'll task to be able to investigate this matter, divorce those two issues. The issue of central bank and the issue of monetary policy versus the issue of competitiveness in the industry. Let us create an environment that will encourage other players to come into this market so that we have diversity. And also, most importantly, ask a very simple question. Why is it that when you call somebody on Airtel, all calls are always busy, busy, busy? The network is not stable at all. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.